So basically the bow and arrow cast is literally where you use your rod and reel and lure in the same principle as the bow and arrow, okay? Now, what you've got to do, the one mistake that people do with the bow and arrow cast, whether it's with spinning gear or fly fishing tackle, is they'll try and do the bow and arrow cast, right, like that, with their guides pointing away from them. What that means is the backbone's closest to you. So if you are using really light gear and you try and do that, you'll send your lure out, but it'll come back to you. One thing you must do is you must always grab the lure behind the point. Otherwise you'll end up in hospital trying to pull it out. Okay. Always point the guides at you, because that means your backbone is facing away from you. The good thing about the bow and arrow cast too is you can actually cast parallel to the water as long as the lure and the rod are at the same height. Okay, it'll cast out parallel like this under here. See, look, boom. Okay, if you want to cast in a downward motion, what you do, right, is you put the lure, whoops, come here. If you want to cast in a slightly downward motion, you hold the lure higher than the rod. See, watch. And see how I've aimed directly underneath those branches over there? Now, if you're in a situation where you want to cast more of an upward motion, what you do, right, is, and I'll do this out in the open now, right? What you do is you hold the lure underneath the rod. Watch, I'll give you a direct line there. See, look at this. You hold the lure underneath the rod. Ready? Watch. See how it goes up in the air? So little things like that, hand position, right, is really important. And you want to cast in quite snaggy country and you can see a good fish, what you want to try and do is a little parallel cast. Okay, so best thing to do, right, is just hold your lure and your rod on the same height, like here. Okay, if I want to shoot this underneath there, see how I've hit that flat and then it's dropped. Okay, and then that gives you an opportunity to fish an area that you could not normally reach with a cast, all right? And then obviously that's how a lot of people get a lot of really good fish, by fishing with bow and arrow casts. So just say I want to get quite technical, right? I open my bail arm, I grab my soft plastic behind the point like so. Okay, you can sneak into spots, drop down, boom. See how I've cast underneath that snag over there? And if there's a good fish down there, fish that are underneath structure will usually hit something without even looking at it, okay? So what you've got to do is you've got to make sure, right, that you've got your bail arm turned over as soon as you do the cast, because if you've got a soft plastic that's the same color as a food source from the tree, right, I crossed food and source there and came up with sood, right? If you use, for example, caterpillars or beetles and that sort of stuff, they'll just see the flash of color and they'll just hit it. They won't even care what it looks like, okay?